What is the best accidental nudity you have seen? At a party in HS, my best friend got hammered and passed out in the front lawn halfway through. I was hanging with my other buddy and his GF, who was also hammered, when he decided to go check on my best friend. He asked me to make sure his GF didn't do anything stupid while he was gone. She flashed me. I failed him. You had one job, damn it. Watched our 19-year-old neighbor and her two friends hop over the big stone fence in our backyard and promptly shed all of their clothes to put on bathing suits and swim in our pool while my family was out of town. Guess they didn't know I was there playing Warcraft 3 instead of on vacation. Edit. I never said anything or told her and really didn't leave the house/my room that whole week, so they probably never even suspected. I was 14 at the time, a sophomore in high school. She had been a senior at my school when I was a freshman. She graduated and was then going to a big state university in our city. There's an outdoor shower near the pool too, and I heard them using it later that night, but couldn't get up to look as Frozen Throne PvP was just too important. When I was like 8 or 9, I was being driven by my mom somewhere and staring out the window. In the car right next to us at a stoplight, this gorgeous blonde just casually takes off her shirt, removes her bra, then puts a new shirt on. My jaw was on the floor. Mom didn't even notice. I'll never forget it. #WINNING. What is the best accidental nudity you have seen? I was at my friend's beach house when I was 16. He had a really hot sister that was about 20 at the time. We were watching TV in the living room and she comes in to hang out with us wearing a t-shirt and loose-fitting boy shorts. Looked more like boxers, to be honest. She sat near me and put her legs up in such a way that I had a marvelous view of her lady parts through the baggy leg of the shorts. I tried not to stare, but it was pretty cool. When I was 16, she knew. When I was in 3rd grade we had a really pretty, red-headed student teacher. I can't remember her name, but I remember she was teaching us French for some reason. Apparently she spoke it really well. I'm not sure why that'd be part of the 3rd grade experience. One day she came over to help me at my desk with something and leaned on my desk and bent over. For whatever reason, she decided not to wear a bra that day, and right in front of my face, swinging in her dress, were the biggest boobs I had seen up to that point. It was glorious. I truly believe that event changed me and set the type of women I've been into ever since. It was certainly a formative experience. Maybe not accidental, Parisi, but definitely unexpected. In April of 1999, when I was in 6th grade, my entire class had a massive field trip to Yellowstone National Park. It was part of a program called Expedition Yellowstone, and it, I believe, was funded in part by grants of some sort. Anyway, my small school in the rural south got to send the entire 6th grade, about 50 students, to Yellowstone every year for like 5 or 6 years, and I got to go. We traveled by charter bus, thankfully, as opposed to school bus for the 36+ hour road trip, stopping for fast food, usually McDonald's, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner during the trip. We had stopped in Lincoln, Nebraska at a strip mall where some of the out parcels were fast food restaurants. We all went into whichever fast food joint we wanted. There were a couple to choose from, with our designated chaperones, ate, and came back out to the bus. Now, this particular strip mall where the McDonald's was located was also home to a bar called Critters. We were sitting on the bus waiting for the rest of the group to come out and reboard so we could leave, when a couple of well-endowed young women come out of the bar towards another charter bus which was also sitting in the parking lot. I can only assume that they got the two buses confused, or they thought our bus was full of their friends, or were just tipsy. It was still daylight BTW. I don't know. But these two young women decided to raise their shirts and flash our bus full of 6th graders. It wasn't just a brief flash either. No, this was a lift your shirt and shake them titties kind of flash that you would normally see in a Girls Gone Wild video. Chaos ensues on our bus. Teachers, chaperones, counselors, parents, and probably even the bus driver as well, were all running and diving into the aisles of the bus, trying frantically and unsuccessfully to cover the eyes of all these innocent 12-year-olds, but we were having none of it. It was the highlight of the trip and we were barely halfway there on a 2-week-long expedition. This includes our bus getting trapped in a whiteout blizzard in the middle of nowhere Wyoming on the way back, limping back to the closest town, and sleeping on the floor in the high school gymnasium. Next came the jokes, which you'd expect from a bunch of pre-adolescent kids. The Grand Tetons, the Twin Peaks, etc. It was awesome, and I dare say it was a seminal moment for many of us. Our high school graduating class recently had our 10-year reunion a couple years ago, and this story was retold more than once. Smoking hot girl going down a water slide. Her bikini top got caught and came off. She had some very nice boobs. That reminds me of the time I saw a 60-year-old man going down a water slide, and he was going so fast his bathing suit fell off, and I just stood there staring at his big beautiful hairy balls flopping around. Around 16 at the time, I left my house after my sister and her 2 friends came over, one of which is just absolutely banging with an amazing body that I may have thought about once or twice. Anyway, nobody else was home. Forgot something in my room, so I ran back in, but I guess nobody heard me come in. I walked down the hallway to my room and past my sister's doorway that was open. I glance over and my brain locks me into place mid-stride. Jaw hits the floor while it burns the image of her, but naked cupping her breasts. They all look over at me and scream. I can't look away. She runs toward me and closes the door. I ran to my room, took a few minutes to savor what I saw, and left. Walking to school on a soggy morning, saw my art teacher in her minivan changing her clothes. Normally, you can't really see into the side passenger area windows well, because they were semi-tinted a deeper color, but it just stopped raining a bit earlier and the sun came through the clouds and shined down on the car, lighting it and the area in general up very bright, and I could see right into the car window. Mind you, my art teacher was 29 at the time, fit and moderately attractive. Full on boobies. I was 14, in 9th grade. Probably one of the best days at school followed thereafter. God works in mysterious ways. My dad lived a few towns over from my mom, so I didn't really know anyone in his neighborhood. I was about 13 at the time and there was a high school girl that lived across the street from him. She'd get changed almost every night in front of her big open windows and I watched every time I was there. The cheerleaders lived across the street from me in college. Every day my roommate and I would sit on the front porch, have a smoke, and wait for the cheerleaders to get home from practice. One would always change with her windows open, and we just sat and watched thinking she never realized the curtains were open. Then one day she waved to us and blew us a kiss. Cue the debate. Do we go over? What should we do? What if she just wants you and not me? What if she wants both of us? What did y'all decide on? Warcraft 3. Handed the Verizon guy my phone to get it turned back on. Opened Safari and first thing that popped up was the best pic of my boobs to date. We both just laughed it off. Ooh, duck, this reminds me. When I was doing long distance with my ex, we'd send each other nudes. She requested pictures of my boner quite often. She really got off on those. Well, she selected her favorite picture of my boner and put his as my contact picture. Even after I came back from living abroad, I knew it was a bad idea, as it would show every time I rang her. Of course the upside was that she'd always be horny when I rang her. Well, one day at the family dinner table she's telling everyone how she wants a new phone. Her mom, dad, sister and me were there. Her dad just looks up to me and says, "You reckon she'll install a different contact picture for you on her new phone?" I install security alarms, cameras, sensors, locks. On one install I placed a camera in the master bedroom like the husband had asked. While I was still there installing I was checking the cameras and finishing up the tests and the wife came out of the bathroom completely naked from the shower. I hastily tried to exit the screen, but the husband who was peering over my shoulder told me not to and just stared at his naked wife while I was in between him and the screen. That's some next level dominance assertion right there. And I got last minute tickets to see Patrick Stewart in A Life in the Theatre. We had amazing seats, 3rd or 4th row center. So at one point during the play, Patrick Stewart sits down on a folding chair right in the center, in front of us. He was wearing loose shorts, and his ducking balls were showing through the shorts. They were huge. It was glorious and incredibly awkward at the same time. The whole scene he's just balls out. I still can't look at him without thinking, dude, I saw your balls. As a kid, I always went to summer camp in a different state, and we would often take multi-day canoe trips around the general area. On one of these trips, after a long day of paddling down a river, the trip leader decided to stop on an island and set up camp for the night. As the day progressed, the sunshine turned to rain, and before we knew it, it was a full-on monsoon. As me and a bunch of other boys huddled under a tarp, someone pointed out two people swimming on the other side of the river. We notice it's two guys and a girl, and continue to watch. Before we know it, the girl stands up revealing that she is actually completely nude. In fact, all three were skinny dipping. Being teenage boys, we began to yell and wave at them, asking if they would like any s'mores, while taking turns looking through the binoculars. We thought they would be embarrassed, however, they weren't fazed by this, and one of the dudes began to swim over. I will never forget his face as he got closer and realized we were a bunch of little kids. Needless to say, we gave him a s'more. TL. Doctor saw a naked river girl and fed a naked man a s'more. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below, and we'll see you in the next one.